time I heard Anne was when I was driving to work one morning and she was on Radio 4. She was on Today. And I nearly drove off the road because she was talking about the twinning, which was all wonderful. And then she was asked something, I don't know if it was John Humphreys or who it was, about the parish council, town council. And she said, we hate town council. We don't have anything to do with it. I must meet this person.
Welsh from Timbuktu! This way!
After we are done with the selection, then we had another city called Liverpool, where we have a Malian playing football. So we are embarrassed. Then we go through some criteria, like having a historical city with a heavy heritage, having manuscripts or books, and World Heritage Sites, because Timbuktu is a World Heritage Site. By looking at those criteria, H and Y was the first. This is the way we choose H and Y. Okay? And I'm taking this opportunity to thank mainly Anne Brichto and her team. Because she was the first one to come to Timbuktu and say, we are ready for the twinning program. And we said, and we will see what Anne can do for Timbuktu and what Timbuktu also can do to her.
After the delegates' trip in October, my daughter's illness, her anorexia, became very apparent, and it also became apparent that in order for her to get better and get better as quickly as possible, we all had to go into superdrive. We had to take the illness seriously, and we had to, as a family, do everything we could. My world got very small and introverted, and you love your children so much, and you so concentrate your energy if one of them's ill. And I just hardly went out very much. We did a lot of walks and we did a lot of talking, and food times were quite intense. But it's like a grey area to both of us. And then I became quite fearful almost about getting back into real life. And I started doing cleaning house, which I never do normally. I didn't start ironing, and I also did a lot of little, writing. But now, after being back at work for about 5 or 6 weeks, I'm loving the fact that Frankie can now cope a lot more without me. And I think she's getting a sense now that she has to do it alone, because she keeps saying to me things like, oh, I wish I was young, and I remember when I was a baby I was so happy, and the world was so much less challenging. And yet, it's almost like you have to learn to enjoy that challenge and put yourself through those sort of things. It does really make you feel a sense of our own inadequacy, or our own inadequacy when bringing up children, because everyone says when they come back from Africa, everybody says, but the children are so much happier there. They're more self-controlled, they're more patient, they're more respectful, but they smile more. They just seem happier than children here. So I don't know how we can do anything that would make it easier for our kids, but there's got to be other ways. There really have to be other ways of letting them do it.
I've counted every day, I presume, but it relies on people's honesty.
And who actually sort of brings the books to do this kind of thing?
Well, I think there's been a dismantling in this country, and almost a kind of a delight in dismantling things and saying, oh, look at that, that's not important, or almost a self-congratulatory thing of dismissing things which are venerable and of worth and of proven worth. And this is such a shame.
And I think the problem with Africa is that we tend to go into aid mode, and because the disparity between standards of living is so great, it's very difficult not to go into that default mode. And I think there's more we can learn, really. And I think that's why Anne wants to do this and why we do need to do it. A lot we can learn from Africa, and we should.
I think that in older cultures there was initiation for boys, and I think that played a huge role with using that male energy. The Maasai still do it. It's a rite of passage, and it moves you from being a child and away from the women into a male environment, and that's probably what we haven't got in our culture.
When I go to Timbuktu, I'm just really looking forward to getting to see all the things that I've just had a glimpse at through my art, like the buildings and just the community spirit.
Is that something you would wish for here?
It would be wonderful to have a base here that we can always return to, but with here the times are always changing and technology is always moving on, and so we're in a changing world here, and I would love that to be here, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
There is a sense that, for me, going to Timbuktu is very meaningful. It's a sort of questing thing, and when you try and find a real reason, it's mostly important to say, actually, I just want to go, and I went once, and I didn't see enough, and I want to go back again.
La 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 la, Maria Maui. La 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 la, Maria Maui. Egaluma lontunya we bumala. Laila la was sitting now, Lina. Laila la was sitting now. God in up my